Most PhD students don't get delayed because their data is weak. They get delayed because their paper lacks structure logic. Most researchers think IMRAD is just a format. It is not. It is a strategy. IMRAD stands for Introduction, Methods, Result, and Discussion. This structure is used across Scopus and Web of Science index journals, but most scholars misunderstand its purpose. It is a cause effect sequence: problem, testing, evidence, and interpretation. In this video, I will show you what each section is really supposed to do, the correct versus wrong way to write it, the real difference between discussion and conclusion, and a simple framework you can apply immediately. If you are serious about publishing, stay till the end. Hello viewers, I am Dr. Surbhi Jain and I am PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry. So, to start with, I will take the introduction. The introduction is not a literature dump, it is a funnel. It must do four things: define the broader problem, identify specific research gap, explain why gap matters, and state your objective clearly. What they most researchers do and what is the mistake we will see in the wrong approach. Let's talk about the first mistake students make in the introduction. When defining the broad problem, most scholars start with statistics. They write tuberculosis is a major global health burden. According to WHO dash dash millions of deaths per year dash, and technically that is not wrong, but strategically it is weak, because what you are actually doing, you are summarizing information, you are not building an argument. The reader does not know where you are going. An introduction must function like a funnel, not a textbook chapter. So, what is the correct approach? Let me show you. This is from my published paper, Virtual Screening, Docking, ADMET and Molecular Dynamics, a study to find novel inhibitors of Mycobacterium tuberculosis targeting QCRB. This article, the full text for this article, the link I will be give in the description box. This introduction does not just describe tuberculosis, it builds an argument. It starts broad, TB as a global health burden, that establishes relevance. Then it narrows. It moves from epidemiology to biology. Mycobacterium tuberculosis, survival mechanisms, and resistance to chemotherapy. Now the reader understands the scientific compilation. Then comes the strategic shift. Novel chemical scaffolds are urgently needed. That sentence is not decoration, it defines the gap. Not vague statements, a precise deficiency in drug discovery, and that immediately the objective. We present structure based virtual screening, docking, and molecular dynamics. Notice what happens here. The introduction does not wander, it forces a logical conclusion. If resistance exists, if current chemotherapy is insufficient, if novel scaffolds are needed, then computational screening targeting QCRB is justified. That is structural logic: problem, gap, urgency, and then action. So next, let's move to next section: methods. Most students treat methods as a protocol description. That is incomplete. The wrong approach what researchers take is they list procedures. They don't justify decision. They write like molecular docking was performed, statistical analysis was done. That is not methodology, that is narration. If you don't explain why you choose a method and how you should reliability, your work looks arbitrary. Weak methods lead to weak results. Then what is the correct approach to write? First, describe procedure clearly, step by step, precise with no ambiguity. Second, justify every major choice. Why this model used? Why this software taken? Why this parameter chosen? Decisions must look intentional, not accidental. Third, they demonstrate reliability, validation steps, redocking, controls, and statistical threshold. And finally, the reference tools and database transparently. Method is a proof that your science can be trusted. Explain, justify, and most important, ensure reproducibility. In the next, we have result section. Results section takes question directly. Structure results by objectives. If objective 1 was docking efficiency, present all docking results together. If your objective is showing in vitro activity, present all biological assays together. Clear grouping reduces reviewer fatigue, and every result must have a corresponding method. Then, what is the wrong approach reviewers take? First mistake, they repeat tables and text. The second mistake, interpreting too early. You write like this proves dash dash before the data is fully presented. Results are for evidence. The interpretation part belongs to discussion. The third mistake what researchers make is presenting unrelated data. So next we move to what is the correct approach. Strong result section follows four rules. First, report key findings first. Start with the most significant outcome, not minor observations. Second, provide quantitative data. Use numbers, RMS, ERMSD, p values, confidence intervals, etc. Claims without data are weak. Third, interpret carefully but briefly. Explain what the results means without drifting into full discussion. Fourth, stay aligned with your research objective. If a research does not answer the research question, it does not belong. Results should present evidence clearly, quantify it precisely, and remain focused. The most important part is discussion section. Discussion determines whether your paper feels incremental or impactful. Avoid repeating results and also avoid overclaiming. Strategic decision increases citation probability. So, what is the wrong approach? Most weak papers collapse in discussion section. First mistake, students repeat results instead of explaining what they mean. The second mistake, what they do, they write like this. This proves a breakthrough. This guarantees clinical success. And the third mistake is no comparison with previous literature, no acknowledgement of limitation, no positioning of impact. Then, what is the correct approach? A strong discussion section does four things. First, state the most important outcomes briefly and precisely. Second, explain implication. What do these findings mean scientifically? How do they advance understanding? Third, compare with existing research. Show where your research results align, differ, or extend prior studies. Position your work within the field. Fourth, propose logical next steps. Acknowledgement limitations, suggest future validation or application. Discussion is not repetition, it is impact articulation. Now, an important clarification many students ask me, are discussion and conclusion the same thing? No, they are structurally and strategically different. Let me make this extremely simple. Think of it like this. Discussion answers, why did this happen? Conclusion answer, so what does it mean? Where is each applicable? In original research papers, most journal requires both sections separately, especially in medical sciences, pharmaceutical sciences. In review papers, often discussion and conclusion are merged. In systematic review, may include a combined discussion and conclusion or a final implication section. Discussion includes to interpret findings, compare with literature, explain mechanisms, discussion limitation and suggest future research. It is analytical and detailed, whereas conclusion restates objective, highlights main outcome, states overall contributions, ends with impact. It is short and decisive. If you consider discussion as a courtroom argument, then conclusion is the final verdict. Before writing your next paper, do this thing. Write your research objective in one sentence, write expected outcome, and draft four questions. Then build IMRD around those answers. Checklist before submission. Every result has a matching method. No result overload. discussion adds interpretation, objective matches conclusion. That will become a publishable structure. The IMRAD is not limited to pharmacy or life sciences, it applies across many disciplines. It is scientific thinking architecture. Master it and you stop writing like a student. The full article link is in the description. Now, what I want you to do, pick one research paper from your own discipline, break it down using IMRAD structure, study how each section is built. Don't just watch, implement it. That's how real improvement happens. Comment below which IMRAD section do you struggle with the most? If you want to understand when to write a research paper versus review paper, watch the next strategic video in this series. Subscribe if you want structured guidance or on publication strategy, not a random academic advice.